Wandau, I can't help it. I just love to understand how the money system works. I want to believe that this is a world where we can have equal opportunities to make it. So the submission of this video is very simple and straight to the point. We want to cover three very important points. One, survivor bias, the feeling here when some people fail to make money or to access resources however hard they work. Is it because they are lazy, or is it because of another variable, which ties to a second point, which is a very suitable and strategic concept and most plausible idea have seemed to explain lack. Feel free to challenge it, but for me, ukiniuliza, it's foolproof. I can't see anywhere to poke holes. And number three is a case for Singapore that explains the real situation of our country and the opportunities that are herein. So now, to help me break down concepts kama hizi is one of my favorite people and one of the most brilliant people najua who can think on their feet. Senior Counsel Otieno Mokaya. Now, kule kuna other areas the conversation has always been Mokaya ni fire, si fire. Na tumegundua and we've settled on Mokaya ni fire, bin fire. Senior Counsel, straight to the point. Survivor bias. It's a very interesting concept where watu wenye wamemake it, wenye wamepata pesa, feel like other people who do not have the money, it's because they are lazy, it's because they don't work hard enough. Yet in real sense, for the most part, most people who have money, it's either luck, okay? For the most part, it's luck, because an experiment was done on executives who had had a successful run, like ikapatikana, for the most part, it had nothing to do with how good they were at their work. It was just circumstances that had aligned to make sure that wame succeed. Number one, what do you think of that? Do some people, what is the place for laziness in lack of access to resources?
So, sorry for that. We have said in this platform before that muminjuri mitanga na masaraibu. I will not expound on that because there's a video we have expounded on that.
I expound too because this is...
So muminjuri mitanga na masaraibu means the guy who wakes up early will not be the same as the guy who stayed and got comfort from the warmth of the house or the fireplace.
Okay.
So there is no way you'll succeed without working. But not every other work will end up in success. By success, I mean super success. If you put any effort, you are assured of a C.
Okay.
B maybe. But A is a matter of many things. Let's make an example which will be uncomfortable with most of us. An examiner, walimu wana mark exams sahi. If they receive a script from Alliance, they'll know this is a student who will get an A or has a bigger propensity to get an A. If they receive a script from Naikuru Secondary School, they'll be surprised if these students get an A. So there is that bias that comes in. So then you realize you're doing the same exam, but you don't come from the examiner does not look at you from the same lens. It's human. If you get an application from a university that you came from, you'll more likely guide the students towards a yes. But if you get an application from a university you don't know, this university student will have to prove to you that they qualify. Is there luck in that? So then I dare say that luck has a place in success, but luck has nothing to do with survival.
Luck has nothing to do with survival.
So if we all go to school or we all work hard, we won't go hungry.
But there are people who work hard and they still go hungry. You understand? I've received messages from people who say, I was doing this, but manze, it's not working, and nimefika mwisho, there is nothing.
I use school as an example because most of us have experienced it. It's true that not every student who reads passes exams. If you are reading things that are out of the course outline, of course, you won't pass exams. You need to read things that are in the course outline. You want to understand how money works for you to know how to look for it. If you plant salt in 1,000 acres, come 6 months later, you won't harvest a thing. But if you plant bananas in 1,000 acres. Of course, when you come, you'll harvest bananas.
So
Then
you're speaking to the knowledge gap. You may be working hard in the wrong direction.
you could be working hard in what cannot pay you. Of course, you won't make money. You won't see success.
Okay.
In the best level, any kind of effort must be rewarded. Any kind of work done must make change. But if your work done is in pushing a wall, the wall won't move.
But you'll have worked.
You'll have worked. So then, you must gear your effort to the result you want. You wake up one day, planting salt does not germinate, but you are there planting salt. No matter how much effort or fertilizer you put on that salt, you won't see the harvest. But this guy who plants bananas, even without fertilizer, even without an agronomer, he might not get optimal harvest, but at least he'll get some harvest. So laziness has no place in result. Lack of strategy has no place in success. Luck has a place in success in the ultra levels, CEO kind of level. But entry, you just need to put effort.
Sawa. What do you guys think of that submission as we tie this to the most plausible, the most plausible explanation of luck I've ever come across? Inaitwa the Russian roulette, explained by Nassim Taleb in Fooled by Randomness. Anasema, just to give context, Russian roulette ni mchezo fulani interesting sana. It's a special kind of gambling where your life is at stake. Kuna hii bunduki inaitwa revolver, inakuanga na 6 chambers of bullets, right? So kwa hizi 6 chambers, the game is inadungwa one bullet. And then inazungushwa, and then
if you are blank, you survive.
If you are blank, you survive.
Yes.
So he gives an example whereby, let's say some eccentric billionaire has a lot of money and comes and says and gives an offer, there are $10 million if you play that game. You understand?
Yeah.
So it says you have 5 out of 6 chances to make $50 million, right?
But you have one chance.
You have one chance where you die.
Surely.
You understand?
Yeah.
One chance where
You die.
you die. So anasema in the kwa hii game, if it was to be played by a pool of 25-year-olds, there is a chance that kutakuwa na a small population of millionaire 25-year-olds,
Yes.
but a graveyard ya 25-year-olds who did not make it.
Yeah.
You understand? And then this also speaks to kuna someone who will play once.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Who will play once
And die.
and die.
And
And there's someone who will play once apate $10 million aseme, mimi niko sawa wadau, let's it was nice.
Yeah.
Yes? Kuna mtu ataicheza once apate $10 million aseme, there is 4 more chances. Acheze tena apate 20 million. Acheze tena, they get nipped on the third one. You understand? Okay?
Yes.
And there's someone who is so lucky that atacheza 5 times, atacheza 5 times, apate $50 million na ikwe
yake.
You understand? So now he says, if someone plays once, na apate $10 million, okay? And this person, there's another person who is a dentist,
Yeah.
na aende apate someone who's a dentist, and then they work so hard for 40 years na kona $10 million. There's a difference between that $10 million of a dentist and $10 million of a person who's gambled on Russian roulette akapata $10 million, okay? To an accountant, they're the same, but in terms of what this money means, it's different.
Yeah.
So now, here comes the game of life. So Nassim explains that in the game of life, sasa, there are people who've been handed, we are playing the game of Russian roulette, but sasa, we have more than 6 chambers. Kuna risasi mahali hapa, itakupata, right? But you don't know where.
You don't know iko wapi.
Okay? So people play, you gamble, you get lucky,
Yeah.
you gamble, you get lucky, and at some point you get used to it. You imagine you are so good, you understand?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with
that
you,
you'll never miss.
but it has nothing to do with you. What do you think of that submission? And just to add on to it, hiyo sasa kukua handed nini, it's, let's say for example, mtu amepata shimo ya kuiba anaibanga na hakuna mtu anajua. Or someone gambles in business, you succeed, you think you are so good, unafanyanga, you take risks and it keeps rewarding you, so you get to a place where it is about you. You think you are so good in business, okay? You are the ace. You understand?
Yeah.
Where market respects you, but it's nothing to do with you.
So we have talked in this platform about mandazi, that you might be playing the same game but not the same league. That somebody sells mandazi in the street at 5 shillings, the other one sells mandazi at Set House at 20 shillings a piece. So then you want to look at this guy driving a Range Rover out of selling mandazi and think he's more hardworking than this person selling mandazi on the roadside.
Yes.
Then you realize this person, it's a matter of one phone call that came, or even people that they know.
Yes.
There's a book called Outliers that says what makes success: where you are born, maybe, the month even you are born, the kind of association you have, and even your surrounding as a person. There's a very good computer engineer who did not become because he never met computers. And there's an average person who looks like the best computer engineer because that is the engineer. He got to interact with a computer at an early age. There's someone who knows how to, like Wayne Rooney, they say, they were a family of boxers. Then they just said the last born must play football. What did they do? They took him to a football academy at the age of 5. He was grilled into being a footballer until it got into him. So the success might not be linear, but there are things that put you in front for success. The Russian roulette, I think luck has a place in success, but it's not entirely based on luck.
But it plays a very
An opening for a doctor needs a medicine graduate for that luck to be complete. So you must be poised for that luck, then it meets you. We said a walking man is on his way to meet his luck. By walking, it means it only favors the ready.
Something you're doing.
Yes. So if you are in front of goal and you have never kicked a ball, you'll miss. But if you are in front of goal and you have always been kicking the ball, that's how you score. You get. So then we need to take away the gambling part of success, that we make prayers that their destiny changes. Unakaa kwenu, you're waiting for this guy who will come and change your life.
Okay.
That you're praying that God blesses you with a car. Then one question you never ask is, who's this that will forget their car where I am with the key inside for me to go and just find it?
Yes.
So there is the preparation part of luck that we have to train ourselves with. So you must be in the employment for you to be there when the CEO resigns, and then you are the next in line.
They will not come get you at your house.
At your house.
Yes.
You must be in the political cycles so that when they miss somebody to elect, or when they hate the establishment so much that they need to replace, you are there for them to think of you. But they can't come to your house in Kilelesho and say, we need change. We think you're the person we want to elect. Even Obama, to be the first black president, you realize he was senator then. Even when the theories say that America had agreed on McCain, they needed a black man to fail. Obama needed to be in the system for him to be chosen to fail. And then his ethic got him to be there. He was not lucky. There was luck that he was the person Martin Luther King dreamt of. But there was the lawyer that Obama was. There was the political mobilizer that he was. There was the public speaker that he was, that he started debating from high school. So there is the preparation part of luck that is so important in success that you can't just stumble upon it.
Okay. So to close that, we can qualify what you've said with a quote from Nassim Taleb again. Mild with an M. Mild success can be attributed to hard work. Wild success is directly tied to variables.
Yes, very many variables. There's a time Kenenisa Bekele had a stomach upset and he couldn't win in a race in Mombasa. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
So we can say his bad luck got somebody to be a champion that he didn't deserve. That's a variable. That's a variable. But this person must have been a best number 2. You get? You must be in the race.
Yes.
You know you can't beat Kenenisa. So you are okay with number 2.
But
Then a
just in
stomach
case,
upset. Some cook didn't cook
Aye.
food so well. Kenenisa had a stomach upset. Then the guy becomes a champion. You can't go home and say you became champion out of luck. Because I'm a champion.
yes,
So
yes,
you must be in the making
you are in
for luck
position.
favor you
You must be somewhere for luck.
and prepared for it. So everybody has a job.
Yes.
Everybody will get promoted. But the unicorn that will become CEO at 30 must be in the corporate ladder somewhere. And that's why even rich people or people who have made wealth, they'll create luck for their children.
Yes, that's
Go
also
be an
another variable.
accountant because I need an accountant in this business. Go be a businessman. Go be a doctor because I need somebody to manage our hospitals.
Yes.
So creating your luck is, they don't sit at the coach and say, I'm the son of a rich man, I'll be a CEO. There is the preparation part.
Yes.
There is the internship, unpaid internship in your father's hospital or your father's business that prepares you. Then once you are ready and your father wants to pull back, then you realize, hey, so you've been the boss's son. But there's the equalization.
Yes.
If you were born and just handed over the CEO position, that business will be run down the same day. Yeah.
Yes. I'd like us to, thank you for that submission. I'd like us through a backup to tie this to a case for Singapore, right?
Mhm.
And in the case for Singapore, this is about, like, it was interesting that our government now, and I support the dream, but I hope they can back it up with what Singapore did, right? In 1959, in Singapore, there was this. In fact, this is Lee Kuan Yew's book, from third world to first. He says that China of the 1950s and 60s would return every scrap of property left behind in hotel. When Chinese communists came to power, they made a great play of their total honesty and dedication. Waiters and chambermaids in the China of 1950s and 60s would return every scrap of property left behind hotel, even things the guests intended to discard. It was an ostentatious display of their total disinterest in material possession. But during the Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, the system broke down. Favoritism, nepotism, and covert corruption infected high places. Okay, now we go back. Hizi ni situation zao that early kitambo. They're talking about they are giving examples za things zenye zina happen in Kenya sai, okay, as in today. In 1960s to 1959, unasikia corruption used to be recognized or to be organized on a large scale in certain areas. In 1971, the CPIB, this is like the EACC of Singapore then, broke up a syndicate of over 250 mobile squad policemen who received payments ranging from $5 to $10 per month from truck owners whose vehicles they recognized by the address painted on the side of the truck. Those owners who refused to pay would be constantly harassed by having summonses issued against them. So hii, unaona the kind of corruption tuko nao sasa, tunasema iko hivi, this that far back, the Singapore we praise today walikuwa hivyo, si ndio? Now it was not too difficult to clean up these rackets. Isolated opportunistic acts of corruptions were more difficult to correct, but they had to be squashed. He goes ahead and said, high-profile cases made headlines. Several ministers were guilty of corruption, one in each of the decades, 1960s and 1980s, and then he gives examples, za akina nani, and how he dealt with them. Okay? He gives an example how one of them actually accepted a bungalow from a developer worth $500,000 and took overdrafts totaling to $300,000 in his father's name against a personal guarantee that the developer to speculate in shares. You understand?
Yeah.
He was loyal non-communist trade union leaders in the 1950s, and it was painful to confront him and hear his unconvincing protestations of innocence. He went hard on corruption. Unaona, if you have a chance, grab a copy ya Likwa News from Third World to First na uone what it's like. And this going hard from when they take offices in 1960s, the results come in the 1998 walikuwa voted na Transparency International as one of the countries where hakuna corruption. They cleaned up the system, okay? So now I'm looking at this from the lens of corruption costs us opportunities proper. In this other book, hapa, Looters and Grabbers, ya Joe Hamisi, he says that in 2011, the current Radieda MP, Otieno Mokaya, was the ombudsman.
Yes.
Right? He says that alikuwa amepeana report that 700 billion was stashed abroad at proceeds of corruption.
Yes.
Do you know what 700 billion is in 2011?
Close to 2 trillion now.
You understand?
Because in 2011, I can dare say that bread was retailing at some 50 shillings.
Sasa inamaanisha, in fact, mimi nikisema 2011 adjusted to inflation, it could be like the amount of money that was stashed abroad, proceeds of corruption, was enough to run the government's budget.
Half a year.
We are
700 billion.
700 billion in 2011.
Is it possible, actually? Yes, because you had said 2 plus 5 billion.
Yes. It's possibly hata hiyo 3 trillion. You understand? So how much opportunity does that take away from people? So two things hapa, inamaanisha, if Singapore tuko where Singapore was in the 1960s, inamaanisha even if we started cleaning up the system hapa, but we still have a long way to go. But just to give context of one, the money stashed abroad cannot be repatriated.
Yes.
Ni normal sana. Right?
Yeah.
So do you think there is hope for us, as much as we seeing equal opportunity, we seeing lack, we seeing, do you think?
Most football fans will tell you they iconize Ronaldo, they iconize Messi, but are they willing to take the sacrifices Ronaldo takes? Ronaldo is the first person to get to training, is the last to leave. He puts it, does it.
Football fans admire Ronaldo because it shows them how lazy they are.
It shows them what success looks like, but it doesn't show them what it takes to be successful. Some Kenyans, we really, really admire Singapore. We try to compare ourselves to Singapore. But do you know what it took, how much sacrifice it takes to be Singapore? In corporate governance, they say, hire somebody you can fire, number one. Hire somebody you can take to jail. Then it kills the feeling to hire your friends. It kills the feeling to hire your siblings. You get. That's why you'll hire strangers, because if they steal, you take them to jail. If they don't measure up to what you want, you fire them. So until we take corruption out of how people get into office, we can't manage corruption when these people get into office. Because if you vote your friend, then if their corruption scandal gets out, you'll say, mutu yangu. You don't look at it as this person is hurting me. You look at it as I need to protect this person. So then it begs the question, are we willing to allow meritocracy to dictate who we give public office? Yeah. Because until then, we can't talk about corruption. Until then, we subjectively talk about corruption. If I'm handpicked for a position I don't qualify for, then that is connection. If somebody else does the same, that is corruption. If somebody steals and gives me, hiyo ni connection, hiyo ni biashara, ni God manze. If somebody else does the same, that is corruption, and we stand against corruption. So then, you realize Singapore declared total war. Actually, I think it's Lee Kuan Yew who said, if my mother is involved in corruption, I'll take him to jail. I'll visit him. I'll visit my mother as every son should, but in jail. So it takes more sacrifice than what we are currently doing. It takes more pain than the pleasure we look at being Singapore to get there. So even if the president admire the plan, It makes a lot of sense. But there is something that misses in that plan. Behavior change and the discipline we need to have for us to get there. It takes the discipline of a parent telling their child, your abilities dictate that you receive a D. We should celebrate this D because that is how able you are. Not a parent thinking, how can I cut a corner for my child to be an A? When they really know my child is an A footballer but not an A scholar. You get? So it takes us accepting that merit means something, honesty means something. Then that road to Singapore is realistic. But if we say we want to keep our bad manners, we want to eat junk and get an athlete body, we won't. What we'll do, we'll get the 5 trillion, we'll loot all of it, we remain where we are. So we'll get very good Ferraris with bad roads. So the journey to Singapore takes the sacrifices Singapore took with the behavior change and national, we need to look at that Singapore dream the way Israelites looked at the Canaan, and then gear all of us and our dreams to Canaan. And there's something about stashing money abroad. Yes. You realize this money we are stashing abroad is the money that businessmen abroad are loaned to develop abroad. Yeah. So 10 years to come, you go receive your 700 billion that you stashed abroad. But this money has been loaned around. It has created 10 trillion. All you receive is 700 billion. And you without factoring in to pay, you get. So this money, if it was here, it could have done a lot even without you knowing. Yeah? So we need, number one, to change our behaviors, to create an enabling environment for the dream to survive.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of our submissions? How much of the bad things we are seeing in terms of economy have to do with us and the choices we make, right? And there's someone also asked me a very interesting question that I would like to pose to you. Are Kenyans ready for a working government? Like in terms of the things we aspire, like, niaje, can you live without corruption as Kenya? Maybe let's pose that to you. Can you guys survive? Can we as Kenyans survive without corruption?
Because the question you're asking is profound, but we don't think about it in granulate. We are not breaking it down to pieces we can consume.
Okay.
We all say the traffic policeman is corrupt. The 1,000 people who give him 50 bob, they are the real corrupt people. Because if they say, oh boss, if I'm on the wrong, I'm willing to go to court, the traffic policeman will not get somebody to ask for bribes. If you didn't want to skip the queue, you won't bribe. You know, corruption starts with the desire by us to skip the queue, bend the law, or get away with what we have done. So the recipient of the bribe is a very small component of corruption.
Yes.
It is the people who offer. Actually, all bribes are offered. They are not demanded. Niaje ba pole mkubwa, naweza fanya aje.
Yes.
So if you don't offer it, then there's no corruption. It starts with us.
Very nice. And when you say that, it goes to very important things. Like Singapore has avoided the use of money to win elections. Right?
Yeah.
And this ties to people blame politicians for being corrupt, but then again, who are the recipient of the money that people get paid
to asks for money to
vote? Yes. So now, he says here, a precondition for an honest government is that candidates must not need large sums of money to get elected, or it must trigger off the cycle of corruption. The bane of most countries in Asia has been the high cost of elections. Having spent a lot to get elected, winners must recover their costs and also accumulate funds for the next election. This is what's happening in Kenya today, but this is a case of the decisions Lee Kuan Yew, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, had to make in around 1959. Can you imagine that? And sahi sisi, watu sahi wanagather pesa ya campaign.
Yeah.
It is hiyo ndio system. Like, as long as that exists, hizi vitu zote tunapiga za, we can have a good country, ni stories za jaba. Do you agree?
Yes. Habits are not one day thing. You start by veering off by one action, then these repeated actions become habits. then if they repeat so long, they become character. If they repeat for longer than character, they become an addiction.
Okay.
So if you have one puff of cigarette today, you won't become an addict. You can walk away from it. If you have 10 puffs, you become a habitual smoker. If you have 100 puffs, then you become an addict. Then it becomes even your name. Kingori wa sigara. Yeah? Then if you do it for long enough beyond character, it becomes an addiction. You are so dependent on it that you can't survive. So the habit of corruption is not a one-day thing. And we must take the pain to stop those small actions that lead us to that habit, then character, then addiction. We'll never be Singapore if we want to keep eating junk.
Wow. Do you think we can survive without corruption? What do you think of our theory of the theory we post courtesy of Nassim Taleb, Russian roulette, ya luck? Where do you see? What's the strategy? Please, let's engage to Onekama. There's something we can do with the agenda, equal opportunity for economic progress for the country and financial success for each and every one of us. Equal opportunity. I think inaitwa equity. See you on the next one.